This is what's left of the side wall. And as you look in here, this is what used to be the Bertram Blend and Boutique. That portion of that road totally washed out as well. And if you follow me over here, this is the cross street, and you see these rocks that have been totally moved by the water. Is running for governor a way to fight for this right? Governor Abbott already says he will call a special session. He thinks this is a winning issue for him, and he thinks this is the issue that's going to get him over the line tonight. This is brand new fencing here, along with these signs which warn people about the risk of drowning in the lake. But as you can see, the fencing is relatively low, and there are also these gaps of several feet in between the fences. We're talking about a bunch of billboards that have gone up over the last several months, like this one here on Barton Springs. People are just kind of sick of being cooped up. They want to pack their bags. They want to hit the road. Lockridge pulled up in his John Deere here Tuesday night. He's been parked on Colorado Street all day. As of this morning, it is now illegal to camp in most of the city. That is with the exception of one piece of that building. This mural that was painted on it is still standing tall. We spoke with Austin-based defense attorney Sam Bassett. He says it appears this shooting was justified. What do you say to that argument?
You know, it's the same argument that they made 100 years ago.
We heard there was a tornado moving this way. I was with my photographer, Anthony. You found out your wife and your kid are okay.
Yeah, it was a crazy moment, John.
Anthony, I love you, man.
Love you, John.
Moving up on 7 o'clock on this Friday morning. Thanks for staying with us here on Good Day Austin. As we inch closer to Christmas, Santa might need like a lighter. Does he have like a lightweight suit?
I hope so.
We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but we do begin with some developing news at the Texas Capitol. From holiday shopping to holiday travel, the rush is on at Austin's airport. First tonight, we are tracking a powerful line of storms. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm John Krinjak. Tragedy struck in Houston this weekend. What goes into making sure events like this are safe? I couldn't believe this when I read about it. The goal is to actually change the asteroid's orbit. How do you do that? Also tonight, the Austin Fire Department says smoking was to blame for an overnight fire at a Northwest Austin apartment building. We just heard AG Paxton basically saying companies, you don't have to listen to the president on this. Does he have a point? Joining us is Karen Vladik, the mom behind that skillfully worded letter. What we're wondering is, how did Ms. Parks react? Did she shake it off? Did she know you were trouble? What did she say?
She shook it off for sure.
Fox 7 Austin's Jessica Rivera is keeping an eye on those conditions from Mobile 7. She joins us live in Burnett County with a look at what's happening right now. Carlo is here, and I know we got to talk about some rain chances for this week, but can we just stop and enjoy how nice today was? Just in time for the holidays, the nation's largest retailer has come up with a new sweet treat, like really sweet. A pint will cost you $2.50. And I don't know how many pounds.
I was just thinking, and a few more pair of jeans.
That's like a lot of desserts. Tonight, Austin police confirming that no charges will be filed at this time, although homicide detectives are still investigating this case. Meanwhile, legal experts pointing out that this case is very different from other shootings across the country where residents have also claimed self-defense.
So we woke up at about 5. I hear some knocking going on, and I thought it was at our door.
Turns out a man was trying to break into the other unit of this duplex.
He's asking for money, telling the neighbors to let him in, going on and on. And at this point, I grab a butcher knife. I don't know what's about to happen.
The woman who lives inside making an urgent call to 911.
And that he was trying to knock the door down, and that the resident was trying to hold the door closed.
The intruder then tried the window.
After banging on the window for about 3 minutes, we hear the glass break. 4 or 5 shots were fired off, and that was the end of it.
Police and medics arrived and pronounced the suspect dead at the scene. No one else was hurt.
It was determined that the male suspect was shot by one of the residents in self-defense.
Cops say there's no indication that the intruder knew anyone in the home.
Yeah, great family, a mom and a son, never caused any trouble.
We spoke with Austin-based defense attorney Sam Bassett. He says it appears this shooting was justified under Texas law.
The person would have a reasonable fear that they could be seriously harmed or even killed by somebody who's acting so aggressively and so violently in entering the home.
Bassett says the case for self-defense here is much stronger compared to other recent shootings. On Thursday, Andrew Lester shot and critically injured 16-year-old Ralph Yarl in Kansas City. after the teen accidentally knocked on his door. Then Saturday, Kevin Monahan fatally shot 20-year-old Kaylin Gillis in upstate New York after she pulled into his driveway by mistake.
It doesn't appear from the facts I know that in the New York case, she was posing any threat. The young man at the door doesn't appear from the facts that he was trying to break into the house or commit any crime.
And back here in Austin, police are not confirming whether the woman who called 911 is the same resident who actually shot the intruder. Meanwhile, if you have any information, you're urged to call Austin police. The drivers who pick up your trash are in short supply.
So we have quite a shortage. I haven't experienced this before, not in my professional life.
Austin Resource Recovery has 350 full-time driver positions. Right now, they're down 60 drivers, or about 17% of their workforce.
In about 6 to 8 months or so, maybe we might find ourselves in a situation where we start to cut back or triage some of our services.
It could get stinky.
Molly and BC Lyon have lived in Northeast Austin for more than 50 years. Is it concerning at all for you guys to hear?
Yeah, because we don't want to lose services due to the lack of personnel.
So why is this all happening? Well, the pandemic has been a big factor.
Now we have people at home, they want to pick up their phone and order materials and have it on their porch in 2 days. And to make that happen, you need drivers.
Companies like Amazon, FedEx, UPS, and others often pay more than the $16 an hour these drivers start at. Resource Recovery Director Ken Snipes says the city is looking at bumping up pay and adding a signing bonus for drivers.
We want to continue to be competitive in the market.
Because they work hard at doing that job.
That's especially true right now with drivers working long hours to cover all those routes. For now, the city is asking residents to be understanding.
There may be some days where the collection is happening a little bit later in the day than you would typically see, and we would just ask for patience as the guys are out there working really hard and they're coming.
Trending now, an Austin woman's letter to her daughter's teacher asking for her to be excused from school for a Taylor Swift concert is going viral. Joining us is Karen Vladik, the mom behind that skillfully worded letter, which incorporates more than a few Taylor Swift song titles. Karen, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you wrote to your daughter's first grade teacher, Ms. Parks, I understand, so she could be excused from class for the Taylor Swift concert in Houston. You said, quote, "I hope missing school doesn't ruin her otherwise stellar reputation, but she begged me to go, and maybe I should have said no, but I didn't want to be mean, so it goes." And that's just a few of them. How did you come up with this?
So I think somewhere in my subconscious, it dated back to when my husband, who is a lifelong New Yorker before we moved to Texas, and is a diehard Mets fan, he used to go to opening day at the Mets every year. And his dad used to write him a note that said, "Steven can't go to school today. He has to see the doctor." And in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a very famous pitcher on the Mets named the Doctor. And so this was sort of like a family folklore story that we had in our own family. And I thought, okay, well, this is Maddie's first sort of fun reason to miss school. So why don't I carry on our tradition and write a fun note? And I just started writing and it just kept going.
A family folklore story. I see what you did there. The letter continues.
Yeah,
the letter continues, quote, "I hope this doesn't leave any bad blood between you and Maddie and that things for the rest of the year are not treacherous. I know I did something bad and I promise this will be the last time she has an unexcused absence before the cruel summer starts." So people love this. People, more than 350,000 people have viewed the letter on Twitter. Are you blown away by that? What kind of response have you gotten?
Yeah, it's really funny. I think it's one of those things that, this is the first time that one of my, I've been on Twitter for a long time, and I think that there's always been interactions on Twitter, and I always scratch my head a little bit about what goes viral and what doesn't. But when the Today Show called, I said, oh, wow, this really, really got picked up, right? And I think honestly, right now, there has been so much in the news, whether it's Nashville or the things that are going on locally in Texas and in Austin. People just really sort of gripped onto what is essentially a very sweet, innocent story. I haven't really gotten any negative feedback from it other than a couple people who want to say, "Oh, I can't believe you're going to let your daughter miss school for a Taylor Swift concert," to which my response is, she's 7 years old and education happens in and out of the classroom.
There's always going to be haters. So
Always.
I think what we're wondering is, how did Ms. Parks react? Did she shake it off? Did she know you were trouble? What did she say?
She shook it off for sure. She wrote back. So my concern, and this is what I think is funny if you look within the tweet thread. So I actually didn't tell my husband that I was going to send this email. I just copied him on it. And he immediately wrote back, "Oh my God, Karen," as in, what have you done? And within, 1 minute, Miss Parks wrote back in all caps, "This made my entire day." So thankfully, she's also a Swiftie, and she immediately got it.
Love it. Well, Karen, thank you for brightening our days with this. I think you're right. I think this is the kind of thing we need right now. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you guys have so much fun at the concert. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.